Altcoins over the past 24 hours have been bleeding towards the downside, but one altcoin has stood up to this test better than any other. That altcoin is Solana. However, I know what you're thinking. Solana's already at $100 billion market cap. Maybe it can only do a 4 or 5x from here, and you're probably right. But the good news is if you can identify top quality projects built on Solana with smaller market caps, then you could still benefit from the growth and strength of this ecosystem. Therefore, in this video, I'm going to tell you about 4 projects built on Solana with much smaller market caps that I think are going to see significant growth in the coming weeks and months as this bull market starts to kick on again. So do me a favor, hit that like button, into it. Now guys, before we dive into those altcoins, let's just jump across and look at Bitcoin right now. What the F is going on? I hear you cry. Just yesterday it was up near 108,000 and today we find ourselves dipping back down to retest 100,000. This has caused the altcoins to look a little bit shaky, but don't worry. Think of every dip in a bull market as a blessing. It might not feel like a blessing when you're tearing your hair out and having a little cry into your cereal at breakfast, looking at your portfolio down a couple of $100 or a couple of $1,000 or whatever it is today. But trust me on this, buying dips in bull markets is really how you can make your money. But where to buy the dip? I told you in a video yesterday that maybe aping into coins again and again that you already hold that are already significantly up is probably not a good idea. And I'll just recap to you why this is not a good idea, right? For example, if you bought Sui down here, you are already up like 9x. And if you go and continue to buy up here, instead of being up 9x, you now drag your average price paid up the chart, which means if Sui then takes a dip into like this zone, then you are now back into a loss moment rather than being in profit and being healthy. Therefore, in my opinion, you don't want to be buying the coins that you already hold significant profits in, especially ones that have barely seen any dip like Sui that's down like 7%. Instead, you should be going after coins that have seen significant dips that are still within the ecosystems and things that you're interested in. Now, why is Solana looking stronger than most? Well, because of what it's done over the past year rather than what it's done in the last day or two. Now, I appreciate many of you who are watching this video are kind of newer into crypto and probably don't know what's happened over the past year. But many others will know that it's been a pretty painful time for most altcoins that have just been bleeding aggressively against Bitcoin because Bitcoin in March earlier this year took a stalling point for 8 months, went sideways, and everything bled towards the downside, with the exception pretty much of Solana that really outperformed Bitcoin during this time. It's formed this nice cup pattern, it's broken out, it's come back to retest, and has now got one of the most stable bases for seeing some significant growth across crypto. Now, we've already talked about larger market caps not necessarily giving us the returns that we want, particularly as some of us were buying into Solana back at $8. So we're already significantly up in Solana. In fact, I don't really own any Solana anymore. In fact, I sold all my Solana to buy Sui back in September, which turned out to be a pretty good move so far. But I know that Solana is still the ecosystem to watch. But I'm not happy with 4 or 5x gains. Okay? I'm not really looking to get into Solana for 4 or 5x gains. Instead, I want to benefit from the ecosystem. Now, quickly, to address those people who are like, yeah, but Solana can do a 10x or a 20x, let me just tell you right now. Okay, Solana's market cap is $100 billion. Ethereum's market cap is like $480 billion, which is a 4.8x on Solana. And whilst you might be sat there telling me that Ethereum's so much more expensive and slower than Solana, you probably would be right, because that isn't what's behind Ethereum's massive valuation. This is DeFiLlama.com, Ethereum, TVL, total value locked. Ethereum sits at $86 billion total value locked, okay? All of these projects, people staking, people lending, all these different derivatives are all on Ethereum right now, which is what gives Ethereum its hefty price tag. And in contrast to the $86 billion locked in Ethereum, Solana has only $11 billion, which is pretty much 1/8 of Ethereum. So you would maybe argue that Solana is perhaps borderline overvalued compared to Ethereum right now. So yeah, don't get too excited about it. But the good news, this is going to continue to grow. Okay, Solana has a lot of growth left in the tank for sure, and there is a lot of money swilling around within this Solana ecosystem to go and bleed into the altcoins built on Solana. Therefore, if you can go and find good quality altcoins on Solana, then you probably know it. We're onto a winner. But this is the main reason I'm looking at Solana altcoins right now compared to others. A lot of you are newer to crypto and maybe you're feeling a little bit fragile right now. And that's probably because you're buying into altcoins that don't have stable bases. You're probably buying into the altcoins everyone's talking about, and they're already quite big and quite kind of unsteady. Therefore, you want to look at ones that are built on an ecosystem that is looking strong against Bitcoin, okay? Solana versus Bitcoin right here, you can see is running into this area of key support. Every time Solana's in here, pretty much, it goes up against Bitcoin. Therefore, we've got a pretty strong idea that if Bitcoin has a significant dip again, that Solana probably won't dip as hard as Bitcoin. That's key, okay? That's very key, because if Solana doesn't dip that heavily, then the altcoins on Solana won't dip that heavily either, but they still possess the opportunity to go much higher. So hopefully that makes sense to you, okay? Because a lot of you right now are buying from areas up here and wondering why you're seeing massive sell-offs, rather than buying at the bottoms and then enjoying the upside with the limited or less brutal downside potential. Now, if you saw my video yesterday, because you're subscribed to the House of Crypto, you're going to understand where I'm going next with this. Because by now, being a subscriber to the House of Crypto, you're starting to understand that crypto isn't random, that coins aren't randomly popping up out of anywhere. And by following the methods that I'm teaching you in this video, you're going to be able to identify coins before they rip towards the upside, rather than just getting coins that everyone else is already talking about. So if you haven't already, hint, hint, hit the subscribe, notification bell turned on, and then you won't miss another move. Now, there's two ways to go and find some coins on Solana that probably are going to see some significant upside. DeFiLlama.com is going to tell you all about the different DeFi products on Solana, decentralized finance products. Now, in yesterday's video, I told you that when a chain is seeing lots of excitement, lots of volume flowing through it, and Solana, as you can see, has a crazy amount of volume that is just going to continue to pick up and pick up, then there are certain coins that will do very well. Those are decentralized exchanges, or DEXs. Here you can see Jupiter and Radium. These are actually really top quality DEXs, but they do have pretty large market cap. But allow me to show you this quickly, because it really supports what I was saying about Solana and a safer time to buy in. Now, I said after Solana broke towards the upside from this cup pattern, it then formed a safer area where it was basically bouncing from right now. You can see that Jupiter, after a recent breakout towards the upside, really broke quite aggressively compared with the breakout that we saw on Solana. Right now, it's come back to retest this zone. This, to me, is a much healthier dip to buy. One, because it's down 35%, but two, because it hasn't really seen any significant upside recently, okay? It's shown that it has the intention of getting going when the markets are good, but it's still lagging behind. It's not the coin that everyone's looking at, and that's where your real growth and opportunity comes from. This DEX is likely to see some significant upside, but it's already over $1 billion market cap. So I would say that there's a better DEX on offer for Solana, and that would be OrcaSwap. Now, I talked about OrcaSwap on the channel in autumn of last year, and we had a pretty successful run towards the upside, and then we ran into March, April, the prices pulled back. Now, recently, we have seen Orca show a huge intent to go higher. It just got listed on Binance, but still only has a $200 million market cap. And you're like, 200 mil is massive money, okay? Actually, for DEX on Solana, bearing in mind that Solana has billions and billions of dollars every single day, is pretty damn small compared to Radium and Jupiter, etc. In my opinion, Orca is very undervalued. And this chart fills me with a lot of excitement, okay? This was the listing on Binance. Notice what happened when it listed on Binance. It ripped towards the downside. It ripped towards the upside in a single day, 138%. Guess what? That was a breakout from this nice cut pattern that you can see on Orca. And the good news is Orca has tried to return back to this buy zone, okay? The area at which it exploded last time. To me, this is a fantastic buy the dip opportunity for a coin on a very strong ecosystem, okay? It's pulled back a whopping 57%. Now, I know what you're thinking, and I know that you guys do this all the time, so stop doing it. You're literally rushing across right now to buy this coin. Don't do it, okay? Don't just go and buy this coin. Understand what I'm saying. Do the research with me. I'm trying to up your game so that you can go and find these coins yourselves. These are just example coins I'm talking about. And you're like, yeah, I don't do that. I don't do that. Well, you do, because yesterday I talked about LSD, a DEX on Aptos, and straight after my video, it went up 62%, which shows me that you guys are not researching and you're just going and aping into coins that I talk about. It also happened with My Lovely Coin from My Lovely Planet, which is up literally 6 or 7x in just the last week or so since I talked about it on this video down here. So, guys, I understand that you're excited and coins sound really good when I talk about them, fine. But guys, go and do some research into these coins. And if you are missing out on these coins, make sure you subscribe to the House of Crypto, notification bell turned on, so that you can go and find out about these coins early, do your research, and then if you wish, go and buy into them before everyone else seems to ape into them. So Orca, with a $212 million market cap, to go to a Jupiter or Radium market cap is a 5 or 6x from here. But anticipating that Solana is going to do a 2 or 3, maybe 4x during this bull market, can see a growth of TVL, then maybe you can then add another 3 or so x to that. So are we looking at a 20 to 30x on OrcaSwap potentially? Now, there's another way in which you can find different coins as well on Solana. Go to categories, search for Solana ecosystem. You can see it's in number 3 right now. And then you can find a bunch of different coins on the Solana ecosystem. Now, Render, a very interesting coin that's captured a lot of attention recently. And I know people are like, why are you not talking about Render? Guys, well, it's got a $4 billion market cap. Not only that, but I know many of you have been buying into Render down here. And you've already been up at 174% at one point. You're still up maybe, what, 87%. And what you're doing, if you're trying to buy this dip, is you're just dragging up your average price paid to the fact that you're probably not even anywhere far away from a break-even price right now. And that's literally what I said earlier on in the video. So Render, I do think is going to see more upside, but just for now, I'm not personally that keen on it. Now, what I would recommend doing is looking for key narratives and coins on Solana within key narratives. The same goes for other top performing chains. Okay, we talked about Sui before, we talked about Aptos, as well as Base. But I think that gaming, real world assets, AI, deep in is pretty much a no-brainer. Okay, so this is what I've kind of gone towards. Key narratives on hot chains. It's too easy. Now, as far as I'm aware, there's only one AI project that is backed by the Solana Foundation, and that is Tars AI, the AI architecture protocol on Solana. And what we're seeing right now is a lot of AI projects trying to build on top of Solana. Now, what this effectively allows projects to do is build onto Solana and use various different AI tools. It's effectively the Solana AI application stack, which is what they're kind of calling themselves. Various different AI consoles, AI hubs, and things that you can implement into your project. From a developer standpoint, this is incredibly interesting because obviously AI tools are quite technical in terms of their setups, and this should all make quite a lot of sense, right? Tars AI is aggregating the best qualities of artificial intelligence and fusing them into a value funnel to provide native Solana users to access all things AI within a few minutes. Now, lots of different projects you're building out there, people building various different Web 2 projects, Web 3 projects can benefit and utilize AI by using this technology and implement it into their existing product. And as we see Solana continuing to grow in terms of TVL, volume, and all that good stuff, we're going to see a huge amount of new projects trying to implement various different functions of AI. So backed by Solana Foundation, check, pretty big check to have as well. AI, key narrative, yes. Various different working products available for users and lots of different development happening all the time that are going to be catalysts for future growth. Obviously, also that's important. And currently, it's got a $244 million market cap, which is relatively small when you compare it against other AI giants out there like Tau Potenza, etc. Now, looking across to the charts, you can see that we have seen a pullback at times up to around 40%, which is pretty significant. Now, I know that this isn't really a particularly well-known product, okay? So many of you who were buying in down here, maybe you don't necessarily want to buy the dip for the reasons I spoke about earlier, but if you weren't aware of this project yet, as an AI alternative to perhaps Render or something else, this would make a lot of sense in my opinion. It's already dumped down 40 or so percent. You can see the last time it found itself in this box, it aggressively bought up within 3 or 4 days, up 65%. There's a good chance that we see a significant bounce again with Bitcoin continuing now, as I look at it, to go back up towards $102,000. I'm sure by the time this video airs, Bitcoin's probably going to be near enough back at all-time highs. Let's see. Okay, but these dips from the prices I'm talking about right now look pretty good. At $245 million market cap, it's just a fraction of other AI projects out there. Tau Potenza, $3.65 billion, guys. Can this project do a 20 to 30x in the bull market? I don't see why not, even at these fairly late stages of the overall bull market. Now, I don't want to scare you, but it is a fairly late stage because the bull market pretty much started for Bitcoin, at least, at the end of 2022. Right now, we're heading into 2025. But we are seeing a lot of altcoins, kind of slower movers, showing that there is still some opportunity in the game. Now, last but not least, we've done AI, we've done a bit of deep in. Okay, I haven't really got a gaming one for you today, but real world assets. Real world assets are a very key product. But there's one more interesting for me, if you've been paying attention to the elections recently, and that is Drift Protocol. Now, before I dive in and talk about Drift, you're probably going, where do I buy this coin from? Guys, all of the different tokens that I've talked about today can either be bought on MEXC.com, linked down below in the description, where you'll also pick up a bonus by signing up through that link, which has over 4,500 different altcoins, some of the lowest fees across crypto, or Bitunix.com. Again, use the link down below if you want to get an extra bonus, which also has a ton of different altcoins, but also doesn't require a KYC. So if you're in certain countries around the world that are pretty strict towards different trading exchanges, then this might be the one for you. But obviously that's not financial advice. Go away and do your own research before investing in any of these coins or using any of these different exchanges. Now, why is Drift caught my eye? Well, basically it's a DEX, but it's also a prediction market. Now, during the elections that we saw recently, we saw a lot of people placing bets on Kamala Harris and Donald Trump using poly markets. And I was doing my best during the time to try and find a prediction market that was basically on chain with a token that I can invest in. Because I was like, this is probably the future of various different predictions going on, and I looked around for a while until I was tipped off by one of the experts in my community about Drift. Now again, Drift has a market cap of $289 million, but if we go and look at the TVL, we can see the TVL is surging towards the upside, near enough $1 billion. That means there's lots of people actively using this platform right now for predictions. That's something that I also really like. Key narrative, lots of people using the platform on Solana, the hot chain that's got lots of money and liquidity flowing around in it. Again, bit of a no-brainer in my own personal opinion. But what's it look like on the charts? Well, interesting you should ask. This coin, that I don't really remember why, absolutely ripped towards the upside. I would assume that that was probably listing on a certain exchange, but I'm not really sure. Now, the good news, after that, it kind of pulled back into a zone that maybe makes it more attractive. And again, we have ourselves a nice green box that we can draw that shows an area that we are sat in at right now or below that we can find a good entry. How do we know it's probably a good entry? Well, the first time it got into this box, it went up 61%. The second time it got into the box, it kind of pulled up maybe 21, 22%, obviously weaker market at that time. And right now you can see it's finding itself some support and will likely see some good upside into the future. Poly markets and other prediction markets are literally playing with billions and billions of dollars right now. A platform like this is fairly unique on Solana. I don't see why this can't see a good significant upside into the future. Now, again, disclaimer, do not just go and buy any of these coins I've talked about without thinking about what they are, okay? I've told you these coins based off of the research that I've done into them, based off of the understanding that I have of crypto markets, but I'm not telling you to buy every single coin. I don't own every single coin that I talk about on these videos. Shock horror, because I would literally have hundreds. But my aim on this channel is to teach you to try and start thinking like someone who's spent a bit of time in these crypto markets, to understand what people are doing and where the money is moving and how to be able to get into coins before people start talking about them. Because right now, I'm telling you about these coins, no one else is talking about them. I'm sure that give it a couple of weeks, when Solana starts to pump towards the upside, people are going to be making videos about Solana and OrcaSwap and Tars AI and Drift and all the coins I've been telling you about today. Okay, this is how you get ahead of the curve. So make sure, if you didn't do it already, that you are subscribed to the House of Crypto with that notification bell turned on so that you can get ahead in these markets. Now, what I've taught you today, you can go and use and look at different chains. Okay, I said in a video yesterday that you could go and look at Aptos, you could go and look at AVAX, you could go and look at Say, and use DeFi Llama to go and search these blockchains that haven't really seen so much activity yet, because they will start to see it. Okay, when these grow, like Say right now only has like a $2 billion market cap, TVL pumping towards the upside. There's a lot of projects right now on Say that are looking pretty interesting. Maybe you could go and find a DEX around Say that's got like a 500k market cap, and maybe you could get very lucky and see that go to a 50 or a $500 million market cap in this bull market. Who knows? Okay, guys, hopefully you enjoyed that video, found it useful. Do me a favor, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel and you haven't done it already, then subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow in another video. Bye bye.